Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are setting up my planners for July, and you'll notice something's a little bit different this month. I very much completely missed that the start of July was midweek. I got to the 1st of July and suddenly went, oh, because I hadn't set it up in my planners. So this month I'm doing a voiceover because it took me about 4 days to do this setup. This little snippet here of me setting up my bullet journal I did literally the morning of the 1st of July before I went to work. Very quickly when I opened my planner and saw that I hadn't done any setup. So yeah, I basically stuck with what I'd done the previous month. So I did my monthly grid for you, which I found so much better in June. I know that the traditional bullet journal method is this vertical calendar, but that just does not work for my brain, guys. So this like visual grid for the month just made so much more sense to me. Yeah, my brain just computes better when I can see things in a grid layout. So I just put that together exactly the same as I had done for June, even down to, how I blocked off the days that weren't in the month. And then I have my 2 columns for my to-do list on the right hand page there, and I don't fill this out in the video, but I use one of the columns for personal and shop tasks and one for work tasks, just because it helps me to have both there but also to have them slightly separated. So after I have done all the setting up, I very quickly wrote in the different events that I've got happening and things. The sun was incredibly bright this morning, so please excuse quite how washed out this is. It wouldn't let me make it any darker. It was a glorious morning, it really was. So actually it was lovely to sit and plan in the sunshine. But yeah, I'm using, the pen I'm using is my Pelikan M605. And the ink, I can't actually remember, it's a Kyoto ink, and I can't remember whether it's a Konoto or whatever the other one is. I think it's called Moonlight Over Higashiyama or something like that, but I will link it down below. And then I am just on this page, I'm doing my expenses and income grids again, and I didn't use this that much last month, but I wanted to give it another month to give it a go. What I have been doing more actually is putting in, like in my daily logs, if I buy something and how much it was, and I haven't been doing that as much for income, I suppose, but I have been for expenditure. So so we're going into the weeks now, and I tried something new which I haven't done yet in this bullet journal, and I actually set up a weekly spread. It's been kind of useful. We're several weeks into July now, and I do refer to it, but probably not as much as I thought I would, so I'm not sure that I'll continue it into August, but for now it has been kind of useful to have those little weekly grids at the beginning of the month. I did quite a simple, just 5-line box, and I only filled half of the page, and you'll see in a second that I go on to put a to-do list on the right hand side of that box, still on that left hand page, and I'm just filling out like major appointments and things on there, and like specific things, tasks that need doing on certain days and things. Like I say, I'm not sure if I will do it in August. I think I will see how the rest of July goes, and yeah, we'll see whether I make use of it. So we're moving on to my Hobonichi, and I'm going to show you something this month that I don't think I've shown you me doing before. I maybe did in a vlog, I can't remember. But I thought it would be useful probably for you guys to see that when I do my monthly setups and things, I don't just know where to put the lines and everything. So I do actually have to count out everything that I do and like where I'm putting everything. So I thought I would just show you me doing that really, and then also show you me putting in the pencil lines for the flowers. So the flower that I went with for July was the Gerbera daisy, which I don't know whether it was a good choice, to be honest. Spoiler alert, I wasn't a fan of how it turned out. But, you know, as I'm finding every month when I do these, and some of them turn out really great and some of them don't, it's all a learning process. Like every time something goes wrong, I learn something from it. And that's what's important really, isn't it? It's about learning things. So I'm just penciling in the flowers to act as the washi here on the monthly page, which, yeah, I feel like I maybe tried to fit too many in, but also I wanted it to look full. I didn't want it to look kind of half empty, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm just penciling those in. So I think we're going to start stickering now, because I used a few different colours of Gerbera daisy in my references. I decided to use a rainbow of my transparent dot stickers, and then I'm just talking about, there you go, that's the ink that I was talking about earlier. And I've got my fountain pen ready there, and yeah, I just sort of randomly picked different colours for different things. I wanted a real variety of different colours all over on this one, and yeah, I wanted it to be a riot of colour. I feel like as soon as it hits summertime, I want my planner to be bright and interesting, and I want it to grab my attention and just really reflect the very warm sunny days that we've sort of had. It actually has rained quite a lot recently, but you know, in typical summer storm fashion. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring it all together. And yeah, I think it looks quite good. I wish there was a little bit more of the green on there. I wish like looking at it now, I wish there was a little bit more green. And then I pulled in a Tombow to mark some leave that I'm taking from work. Remembered a couple more things that I needed to mark. And then I started pulling in icon stickers. So as always, I use a mix of Caffeine and Paper Co and stickers from my own shop. So I always have linked down below in the description box not only my dot stickers but also my icons, my minimal icons, and there's also always a discount code for my shop down there too. I've also just pulled in a little payday script there, and then I'm putting in the little books to be for work events. And then I'm actually doing something a little bit different this month. I'm putting in the little televisions from my shop and the little cameras. The cameras for my YouTube videos and the televisions because The Handmaid's Tale is back. So I am watching it every Sunday evening while I'm in the bath. And then I'm just putting in my little normal weighing scale stickers as well. And yeah, I'm just sort of making sure that I've got everything in there. I think for 1 second there I couldn't remember what that one was for. And now I am just going in and filling everything in with my fountain pen. Yeah, I think it's a very full month this month. Looking at it, it's very, very full, and kind of like it actually. I mean, sometimes I really like my planner to be very minimal and not have too much in it, but then other times I think, do you know what, actually it would be nice to have it a little bit more full. I think we've got so used to our planners being quite empty, haven't we? So we're now going to be breaking out the paints. I'm using my Sennelier palette this month. So this is a set of paints that I actually poured into pans from tubes, and I actually did it on a video on this channel from several years ago, and I just top them up basically. As I use them, I just top them up as I go. But yeah, the reason that I went for these rather than my Schminky palette that I've used in the past is that these are very vibrant colours, so they're very bright and punchy, whereas my Schminky ones tend to be a little bit more muted and a little bit deeper. And for these Gerbras, I really wanted that bright pop of colour, because that's just what they, to me, Gerbera daisies are just this really bright, vibrant flower that, yeah, it just sort of brings everything together really in a bouquet. I mean, I often find that if James picks me up a bunch of flowers, there'll be a couple of very bright pops of Gerbera daisy in there, and I just love them. I know, you know, they're a fairly simple flower, but I just love their bright sunshininess. So yeah, at the moment I'm just painting in the petals, and I found this difficult, and now I'm watching it back I realised I didn't have the paper under any tension, which is what I've learnt in previous months, that the tomoe river paper really does need. I was trying to use the like the shape of the brush to help me form the petals, because obviously daisies have like a very distinct, like pointed but rounded petal, and I have to admit I was really struggling quite a lot to get it to do what I wanted. But yeah, there was a lot of pooling in ways that I didn't like, and I definitely struggled to get the brush to behave how I wanted it to. So it didn't turn out how I thought it was going to, basically. Like, obviously you have a vision in your head, and when it doesn't come out like that vision in your head, you're sort of like, what have I done wrong? But I think, yeah, a good part of it will be that I didn't have the paper under tension. I was trying to do too much too quickly. I definitely was not taking my time with this. I think I definitely felt very rushed, because obviously it was already like into the month when I was doing this, and yeah, July just kind of, it snuck up on me, and it meant that I kind of I'm not gonna lie, it's like halfway through the month now and I still kind of feel like it's not July. It's very much sort of run away from me, and yeah, I'm sort of running to keep up. So I'm just adding in little pops of darker colour. So like on the daisies, obviously you have like the centre of the daisy, and then there's almost like the centre of the daisy, and then there's like these tiny little petals that come out from there to form like another ring in the centre of the daisy. So that's what I was trying to create there. Not entirely successfully, but yeah. But yeah, it's, you know, it's like I've said in previous months, ultimately I only have to look at this for a month. So I try not to beat myself up if it doesn't look exactly how I wanted it to. And so I'm just putting in like a second layer of the petals. That's another thing that I noticed in quite a lot of the reference photos, is that there'll be longer and shorter petals, which I don't know that I'd ever noticed before. So yeah, it's almost like there's two different layers of petals in there. So I was trying to add a few more in. And then this is the next day, I think, and I'm again adding in some more of that slightly darker colour in the centre to start forming the centre of the flower. And I really liked the peach that I used there, but I do feel like it wasn't punchy enough. Like, it always needed to be a coral. And then like the pinks, they weren't distinct enough, I don't think. Like, because the one that I've just done there, that's supposed to be kind of like a red, and that was a little bit too pink. And then the pinks were a bit too pink. I missed the one that I really wanted, which was like a corally colour. So I'm just adding in the centre of the flowers now, just to finish off the paintwork, and then we are going to be starting the line work. And I can't decide whether I like this line work or not, so I decided to use the fountain pen like I did with the Magnolia last month. And I don't know if it's the ink that's in the pen, if it's that sort of made me go, oh. It's quite it's like an orangey red, which is why I thought, oh yeah, I'll use that, because that's, you know, it fits in with the colour scheme of the flowers. But it's quite a it's almost like an autumnal colour. I think what I needed was a punchier, brighter colour, really. So it does mute it down a little bit. I still like it, but it just wasn't what I thought it was going to end up like, I suppose. It's just a bit more muted than I intended it to be. And I did again kind of struggle with the petals. So I don't know. I just seem to, I suppose it's the same with, you know, like when you'd be doing exams and you just sort of, your hand would kind of get fatigue from writing constantly. I sometimes get a little bit of fatigue from drawing the same shape constantly. So there were definitely moments that I had enough of drawing daisy petals. And I also, like, every so often I would find that my pen would skip a little bit, and I think it's because the Sennelier watercolour, that it uses honey as a binder, and on a couple of the colours it had separated a little bit more in the palette. So I think probably because last time I topped those colours up, I probably didn't like mix it well enough when I poured it into the pan. So yeah, it created almost like a bit of a glossy coating on top of the paint that made it a little bit harder to write on top of. Do you know, I think as well part of the problem is because I went with the brown in the middle, which Georginas I think actually have like different coloured centres. I'm not quite sure why I went for brown. But do you know, I think it makes the yellow ones look like sunflowers, and I think that's maybe part of why I feel like it's not quite right. But again, it's something that I can learn from in the future. I haven't actually picked the flower for August yet. I need to sort of think about which flower I'm going to do. I don't really know what flower, like if there is a flower for August. Oh, I know what I could do. I've just had an idea. Okay, I'm not going to reveal it though. You'll have to watch next month. Finally coming to the end for all of those daisies. Yeah, I mean, I did quite like how it turned out in the end. I think it's always that thing of when it doesn't quite look how you thought it was going to. So the pens that I'm using for the monthly start page are two Tombos, one is yellow and one is red, and I can't remember the numbers, so I will make sure to put them down in the description box below. I went with quite punchy colours again because I wanted to keep that. I sort of feel like if I was going to do like a more muted colour, it would just disappear into the page once I put the flowers on. So I've got my usual little grid that I'm doing here. I do end up cutting some of this out, I think, because once again, you don't need to see me doing all these dots every month, but they are really helpful for me. And I'm not gonna lie, like over June and so far in July, I've really sort of lost my routine with habit tracking. I really lost my routine with a lot of things actually. I think that's probably what's contributing to why I completely missed that July was coming and so on. And I'm also, June was a really bad month for remembering to journal. I mean, the situation where I hadn't filled this, where I hadn't set this up, definitely made it worse because I don't like to journal on the last couple of pages before the start of the new month. Obviously because I'm filming it and I journal very personal thoughts and things. So yeah, I was a little bit out of sorts after sort of losing track of when I was supposed to do this. So yeah, I was very, very grateful once it was done, so I could try and get back to some sort of normality. So I'm moving on now. So I did with the trackers down the side what I did last month, and I just used again the little transparent dots and then wrote the category alongside it. Do you know, June's is mostly empty because I hardly read. I read like I read regularly, but I was reading like one quite long book throughout most of the month. And I didn't watch a great deal other than YouTube videos. I put out my own YouTube videos, of course. I didn't do a huge amount of baking either. So yeah, I don't know, the last couple of months I've just been out of my routine, I suppose, and I suppose it's more maybe like struggling to prioritise the things that I like with my time. Again with the petals, I thought that when I was going to be doing it larger I would find it easier, and what I'm doing right now is I'm just re-going over some of the petals to try and get them into the right shape. I think maybe I needed a slightly less pointy brush. It was just sort of creating too much of a defined point at the end where I wanted them slightly rounder. So I'm about to go in and again do that like second set of petals. They're even more prominent on the larger flowers than they were on the other one. Just how layered these flowers actually are. They look on the surface to be such a simple little daisy, and they actually have a couple of layers of petals, and also they have like the petals all go in different directions and things, which I think is really cute. I'm looking at this again as I'm painting those brown centres, thinking that's where this went wrong. Definitely did not like the brown centres on the flowers. I think because they just kind of blend into the sort of autumnal kind of reddy orange of the ink in the pen as well. That doesn't help. It loses the definition. So I'm just drawing in on these ones, like I say, that sort of row of smaller flowers. I've already done, and the little bit that I was doing right around the centre is like that little, those couple of rings of the tiny weeny little, like I'm doing here, petals that kind of point upwards rather than splaying out, that create this little textured bit around the centre. And then yeah, on the yellow one I was just doing these inner petals that kind of, they all go in lots of different directions, which I just think looks really cute. One thing that I did do on these bigger flowers, I think made it a little bit too busy, too cluttered, is I tried to put the seam in on all of the flowers. I don't know if that's what you actually call it, but you know, on when you have flower petals and they have like a crease down the middle almost. Yeah, I tried to put those in, and it just meant that you lost quite a lot of the colour behind it. You just had mainly the ink, and yeah, I feel like it lost something when I did that. But again, a lesson learned that I can take forward for next time. I do a lot of turning my plan around when I'm doing this one. I try not to turn it around when I'm filming as much as possible, but for these flowers there was no way. I needed to turn that plan around to be able to actually be able to make my hand go in the right direction. On this one, I didn't put that little crease in on the smaller petals, and I think it looked a lot better. I did on the bigger petals. On the smaller petals, I think it looked a lot better. It didn't lose the... it's almost like when you put the little crease in, you then lost where the edge of the petal was, because it just kind of looked like a load of lines, if that makes sense. And also by not putting the crease in the smaller ones and putting it in the bigger ones, it meant that they stood out a little bit more as well, so it made them sort of stand proud and look almost like they were sticking up from the other ones behind them. Something that I did have to really think about when I was doing this one, because they overlap so much. I really did have to think about, you know, which flower was I going to do first, so that I could make sure that I got the overlaps in the right way. end, guys. I hope that you enjoyed watching this plan with me. It's very different to the other setups that I've done where I've talked it through, but I hope it was still interesting to watch and to see the end result. I'm quite happy with it. I think, yeah, I just wish I'd used a different ink, but I am happy with how it turned out in the end. It's very bright, it's very July. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon. Bye bye.